250 milliliters of water here. All I'm using tonight is agar powder and light malt extract. I am going to just turn my stove on. I'm doing this right on the stove top. I don't like magnetic stir plates that are heated. I find that they are more trouble than they are worth. I just do this right on my stove, so you can just cook it right up. And it works just fine. My stove is a little dirty. I have an observation that I laughed about with my husband earlier. With women, it's like we're cluttery sometimes. Like we'll just like leave stuff out, but it's clean because our stuff is clean, so it's okay. Where men, it's like they'll pick up their stuff, their items, but if there's like a sloppy mess somewhere, it's like, oh, I picked up my stuff, it's fine, that's fine. So like actual dirt is okay. I hate to make broad generalizations, but that's how my marriage is. I cleaned the stove really in the whole kitchen this weekend, and when I went to go live tonight, I was astounded by how dirty the stove was. Like just nasty dirty. Okay. So I'm letting this heat up. While we're letting that heat up, I'm actually going to wash my hands, and we're going to start measuring out our ingredients, which we wrote down on the card here. So what's on my my other screen is not what's showing up here. That's funny. Okay. All right. Just gonna wash my hands. I've actually been experimenting with something interesting lately, and I'm looking forward to telling you guys what the results of that are. The most recent batch of liquid culture I made, I added just a little bit of antibacterial soap to my mix. I know, that sounds crazy, but I found that, you know, that time between you can actually get it in the pressure cooker and inoculate it, even if you keep it in the fridge, I've noticed, I've learned to know what contamination looks like in it when it's not inoculated. Kind of looks like a ribbon that you can swirl. And I have been frustrated with that, and I'm assuming that the soap will evaporate and that the micellar will take over anyway. my stove is dirty because of a man. So yeah, but in his defense, I am cluttery sometimes. I have to really keep on it. But yeah, so I've been experimenting with that in liquid culture, and I really feel like there's something to this, that antibacterial soap is going to evaporate, but it's not going to in that short interim allow contamination to happen before you can inoculate your culture. So that's not for agar. That's something I'm doing with liquid culture right now. But so while this is heating up, I'm just going to take my scale here, my kitchen scale. I'm just trying to make sure this is in focus. I really need like a lab assistant for when we do these videos. It's hard to, okay. Alrighty. So got there, and I'm just going to put my little, turn it on, put my glass measurer here. If you are using a jewelry scale, you will have to use plastic because those usually don't go over 40 grams. And this alone is 609. All right. So the first thing I like to do is measure my light malt extract and put my agar powder in after, and we'll talk about why I like to do that. But if you don't want to have a lot of clumps or like the light malt extract in your agar once you pressure cooked it and you pour it, it helps if you put it in there a little bit early. I think actually instead of this, I'm going to use this. All right, that's better. So I like to stir my my light malt extract in until it's no longer cloudy. And then this is so easy. We're just gonna measure at 37.5 grams. Just gonna get a big kitchen spoon and dump it in there. I think I got this light malt extract on Amazon. I'm sure I did. And I feel like it was like less than $10. The agar powder that I'm using was probably about the same price, maybe $12, I'm not sure. And it just lasts a long time. This is the same bag of light malt extract I've been using all year long. So we need 37.5 grams for 1,250 milliliters of water, which will fill these bottles. Uh-oh, did it go too much? Oh, so close. This actually I don't think does half grams, so we're just gonna, yeah. You don't have to worry about being overly precise. My slime's cool like that. It's like, whatever, man. Yep, see, I got 38. All right. I'm just gonna let this heat up to where it's near a boil. I can see small bubbles in it. It's not quite ready yet. I'm going to be posting a video that I recorded earlier about air quality testing. If we had time tonight, I was going to talk about it a little bit and show you guys the results of my air quality test from this week that I did. I don't know if anybody is familiar with air quality testing or if anybody's used it. Air quality testing is where you just take unopened Petri dishes with agar and you leave them open in your house, specifically in your mycology area. And I did one for my laminar flow hood. I did one on my desk, which is like 10 feet from my laminar flow hood. The laminar flow hood was on because it's also a good way to make sure that you're getting good laminar flow. I had no contamination in my where obviously the one in front of the laminar flow had no contamination, but the one that was by my desk really surprised me because it had one spot of trichoderma, and I've told you guys before that I live on a very moldy lake, so I was really happy that my air quality is good right now. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to stir this in, and I'm really going to just take my time with it because that's important to make sure that you get it fully integrated into the pot. And I'm not even pouring it all in, I'm just going to stir this in first, break up these clumps. It looks very cloudy. And it will kind of like stick in the glass a little bit. And I just dip I'll pour water like from the hot pan into this to get that out, or I'll dip it right in there. Try not to burn myself. It's fine. Just to get that last amount out, just kind of melt it out of there. There we go. I'm just going to continue to stir that for a second, and I'm going to leave it while I weigh out our agar powder. Okay, and this is going to get more clear as you let it get hotter and hotter. It won't stay cloudy like that. You don't want to burn it, but I feel like it's pretty hard to burn this. So towel to set this in on. Excuse me. All right, so I'm gonna just get another dish to measure out the agar powder. So Suave said that they test their own oven tech to see if you can pour plates and move away from agar jars. Okay, yeah, no, I love that. So before I had a laminar flow hood, which I've told some people that I strictly bought only to do open, to be able to do syringes open air and not through a port. If I wasn't a vendor, I would not own one. And I did this, if you go back and watch the video where I did this before, it was a different recipe. You'll see that in the pouring tech video, I did not use a laminar flow hood. None of those plates got contamination. It was fine. I practiced my mycology for a very long time without a laminar flow hood and had no issues. I actually put a little too much in here. It's supposed to be 25. So we're just right there. I forgot about your oven tech. I remember you mentioning that now. All right, so I'm gonna just stir my light malt extract one more time. It's starting to look pretty clear. If you don't have a if you don't have a pressure cooker yet, you really do want to see this at a light boil. And you want to pour it very hot because your chances of getting contamination when it's like super hot are a lot more slim. And condensation, yes, you will get condensation, but it clears up. It clears up quickly. You just have to put your plates and store them upside down. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and add my Agar powder. So let's say that you really want to work on Agar tech, but you are afraid of the contamination you've seen people get with plates who are new to it. So you can start with water Agar, which is another recipe. It's basically no nutrition, and you can try to grow your mycelium on that. I went a little too hot there. If you have a contaminated syringe, that's a really good way to get mycelium so you can transfer it, a clean transfer to a light malt extract based Agar. I got a little jello pocket there. That's fun. I've never had that before. That's gross. Huh. Or so you can do like light nutrition or no nutrition Agar and leave out the light malt extract. Or if you're worried about contamination, you can pour under a still air box if you are comfortable doing that. Agar really is not scary. I told the snarky nucologist earlier that making Agar to me is actually easier than making Jello, especially if you're using this recipe. And if it's helpful to anybody, I can break this down into like cups, like, oh, you need this many half cups or whatever. I'm just trying to get the lumps out now. Regarding our little contest we have going on, I was just a minute late because I was trying to read through those, and we have it kind of narrowed down. We haven't exactly decided yet. After this, I'm going to have a little chat with the moderators so we can make a final decision on that. You guys had such good suggestions, though. The suggestion to how to not inoculate Agar with a syringe that Squirts said, that's how I do it. When I am trying to sample a liquid culture or spores on Agar, I do not use the needle. I just only take the syringe or take the needle off if there's a needle on it, and I squeeze it, shake it, and squeeze it 3 times in three dots. Like here's the plate, and it's just like, you see me? Right. So here's the plate, and here's me with my syringe squeezing the tube. 1, 2, 3 drops. Leave it flat. Don't turn it upside down. That's it. There's a little bit of a gnarly clump in here that doesn't want to come out, that I'm just stirring through. As soon as that happens, I feel like when I'm doing it on the stove, but not every time. And if you guys want to share with me your feedback on if you prefer the YouTube Live for being able to reference later, or if you prefer doing this on Discord, that'd be awesome. I kind of think I like Discord because I really enjoy the being able to communicate and talk, but maybe like record at YouTube, but at the same time, have everybody active on Discord. I'm just throwing this little clump out because he doesn't want to go, and I don't want to keep you guys on your fabulous Tuesday night. I actually haven't had it clump up that bad in a long time. I like too much talking. Talk, talk, talk. Less talking, more doing. Because I see one more nasty guy in here. He's like a light malt extract, like slime blob guy. That's weird. It's like light malt extract trapped in gelatin. I feel like when I let it get almost boiling hot, I kind of did that. I've actually not ever had to do it this bad before. I don't know, can't really tell you. But that's the great thing about Agar. It's that easy that if you have to I fucked it up. Remove fuck off, keep going. It really doesn't hurt anything. And you'll also notice I don't have any stir bars in these because I can just shake them. They have lids on them. I can just shake them when I take them out of the pressure cooker if I see any, stuff in the bottom of the jars. So this is about ready for me to pour, actually. I had to fish for the little clumpies. I think this is the last guy. Huh? I can't believe I did that. But I really like this recipe. Sometimes if I'm using a different recipe and it's not working, I'll transfer to this. It's just the most basic recipe and it works really well. My celly really seems to like it. Sometimes I will even match my liquid culture to a similar recipe. I do lots of different liquid cultures though. I mean, if you receive a liquid culture from me, that specimen has already seen 3 different recipes of nutrition in its lifetime at least. Because I move them. The final product ends up being the clear liquid culture that I send out, but it does not start out clear. Alright, yeah, there's one more guy in there. We'll just wait him out. Alright, so what I'm going to do next is go ahead and just pour this into my bottles very carefully. I have a funnel for it. Oh, there we go. Alright. That's kind of, I wonder if he was, I think that was the blob that got hung up on the cat, and instead of taking it out then, I was like, oh, I'll just put it back in there, it'll dissolve. No, it didn't. It didn't. Maybe use a spoon, don't be like me, and think that everything needs to be so cute. Alright, there we go. Alright, so I've stirred this up really well, except for the blob monsters that got hung up on the little cat's tail and stayed in there. Yep. So, use a real spoon, friends. Maybe one that's vented. No cats for cuteness. Alright, so what I like to do when I pour this is I pour it from the pot into a glass pouring dish, and then I pour that into these with a funnel into the jars. And I'm just gonna drag this really quick because I see two more little guys. My cat just was like, I'm gonna get slimed. He looked really scared. He's like, gosh, she's gonna slime me. You're right, I'm gonna slime you. There we go. Alright. So this is, make sure this is in focus. So this is it. I mean, like, honestly, I see a lot of comments about people being really afraid of this process, and it's so easy, and it's so rewarding to be able to do it yourself at home and save the money. And sometimes you have something you want to lock in quickly, a mutation, whatever, so you really want to be able to, have your own agar available. So I just pour it in there. Be careful, it's very hot. Just tap it. If you get it on the counter, make sure you clean it off quickly because it will not be your friend to get off. Oh, there's a clumpy guy. Those will dissolve in the pressure cooker though. I feel like I don't ever have problems with anything until I do it on camera, and then it's like, oh, I guess that can happen. But I feel like probably everybody feels that way about something. I think that happens unless you're in public. Oops, that did hit my hand. Okay. And keep on pouring. So my tech for pouring hasn't. Whoa, did I go too much? Oh, just right. My tech for pouring hasn't changed at all. It's just like it is in the video that I'll link that I did before. Fast, simple. Stack your dishes in 5s. That's a quick, easy video to watch. If I didn't have to pressure cook this and wait for it to cool, I would do it tonight. But we could do a follow-up video, and I could do that if you want. If you guys just really want to see that live action of that. All right. Notice I'm not worried about like setting this down on the counter or anything, since I'm going to be sterilizing it in the pressure cooker. But if you are not doing that up the pressure cooker stuff, you really want to be very clean and careful about this. it, you guys. That is how easy this is. It is so easy. So what was that? Somebody wanted to add a little food coloring to it. Oh, okay. I recommend acidic color, so like blue, purple, green's okay too. White or black are neutral. Higher acidity, or like lower pH levels are more friendly to contamination growing, and higher pH levels are not. Mycelium can still grow in them, but trichoderma is less likely. So I keep mine neutral. I don't color mine, but if I did, I would probably do it blue. Blue's a good color for it. We can do what if you want. I usually do it at this point before I do my sterilization. I think I moved most of my food coloring downstairs though. So I mean, that's not super important, but yeah. So you have the option of coloring it if you so desire to do so. And what you would do is just use a few drops of food coloring. Yeah, I'm a monster. I didn't need those downstairs to my lab area. But yeah, use that a few drops of food coloring and shake it up. I would use a magnetic stir bar if you're gonna add the coloring, and then PC it with the color in it. You don't have to add the color before, it's fine. Just a couple drops will go really far, and you can just use liquid food coloring. It's really cheap on Amazon. You can get like 13 colors. So yeah, so from here, I don't love that this is not interactive. That's kind of like a bummer. So I'm going to go onto Discord and go live on there on the one of our group rooms in the voice channel to see if anybody wants to talk about the status of their current grow, talk about blueberry jam, and I will show you the results of my my most recent air testing to kind of talk to you guys about that for a minute. I will be pressure cooking these though for 15 minutes at 12 psi. You don't really have to go crazy. You don't want to burn your sugar anyway. They're good to go. And then after I pressure cook them that initial time, I will stick most of these in the refrigerator, and I'll just pop them back in the pressure cooker for 15 minutes and leave them on the warm setting and pour them when I have time. They'll stay warm in there for a very long